Hey, what's up guys? Alex here with a new video. And today we're doing something I never thought I would do. But for the last 3 years, I've gotten one question asked the most, and that is, do you sell your presets? And I could finally say, yes, I do. Today we're launching my brand new website and the sale of my presets, and I want to tell you all about it. So this is going to be a little different. Most preset packs and most photographers sell a variety of presets, one for nighttime, one for sunsets, one for God knows what. I'm only going to sell 2, and they're pretty much the same thing. So I'm being very upfront with you. For the last 3.5 years, I've had the exact same look, the exact same color palette. I've fine-tuned it over the years, and I am incredibly happy with the look and the colors I'm getting out of my pictures. My preset pack has 2 presets. One specifically designed for Canon cameras, and then one designed for every other camera. They're both based off the same look, so the goal is to get the same look regardless of the camera you use. I firmly believe with my preset, all you need to do is adjust your white balance, tweak your exposure, and you are good to go. There's a little extra I do to all my pictures, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you that. So with that being said, enough talking, let me go ahead and show you how I edit with my presets, and then we'll wrap up this video. Okay guys, so here we are in the develop module in Lightroom, and to your left you're going to see my preset pack with both presets. In these examples, all of them were shot with Canon cameras, so we're going to be using the Canon preset, and you're going to see how simple it is. Usually we just click on the preset, adjust exposure, white balance, and we are good to go. So let's go ahead and click on Canon here, and you're going to see off the bat the white balance is off. That's okay. What I like to do is I usually like to go here on the right hand side and just go to auto white balance to see what Lightroom thinks is correct. And I start adjusting. So from here, I definitely think the image could be a lot warmer. And I also have a thing for even numbers. So I like bumping up in even increments. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to, let's say 5,800, see what happens. Okay, it's looking better. I'm going to go ahead and actually go a little higher. I'm going to go to 6,000, and that's looking where I want it to be. Image is looking a little bit on the darker side, so I'm just going to bump the exposure, and we're done. If you want to add a little extra pop to the images, I can't include this in the preset pack because it's not necessarily anything special. I'll show you what I do with all my images. So this is pretty much done, but again, I'm going to be a little extra here. I'm going to go ahead and go to the masking tool, and I'm going to go ahead and go select subject. This is one of the beautiful parts of Adobe's latest update. It makes this so much easier than what I was doing before. So I'm going to go ahead and select subject. So Lightroom just masked my subject. I'm going to go ahead and invert the mask. So now it's only hitting the background. And you got to do this lightly, guys, because if you do this extreme, it won't look good, but I'll show you. And I just darken up the background a little bit. I usually go kind of just right there to give you that little extra pop. And you're gonna see if I go a little extreme here, it'll look funky, it'll look artificial, doesn't look good. But if you just do it subtly, like even right there, you add a little bit extra pop to the image, and all you're doing is literally adding a mask, inverting it, and just bumping down the exposure a tad to kind of create more separation. Let's go to the next image. So here we have an image I did at a wedding, again with a Canon camera. Let's go ahead and slap on the Canon preset. And very similar, again, the white balance is off. I don't really like to worry about white balance as I'm shooting because I know I'm gonna fix that later. Let's go ahead and kind of remove the mask here, and let's go ahead and just do the same thing we did last time. We're gonna go ahead and go auto. Now, Lightroom's a little actually on the warmer side this time, so that's why you always have to tweak, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and actually turn down the temperature. And one thing that's gonna stand out too is this image is underexposed, that's fine. Let's go ahead and bump up the exposure. And that is looking good. Now, one thing I would do with this image as well, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of crop. There's a little bit too much negative space here in the top. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just crop it a bit right here, and we are done. This photo was shot with window light, and the background's already dark. You're already getting that separation, so there's no need to add a mask here and do what we did with the previous image. I think that's a good final image. This is actually how I delivered it to the client. I love it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, here we are, and you're gonna see this image is already beautiful out of camera, but let's go ahead and just click on the preset. You're gonna start seeing a trend here. All my images are usually shot a little underexposed, and that's totally fine. You have so much dynamic range with these new cameras that it's not gonna really impact anything. So on this one, before I start tweaking the white balance, because this is already looking pretty solid, I'm just gonna go ahead and tweak the exposure. I'm actually gonna just bump it up just a tad right there. It's looking good. And also learn your keyboard shortcuts. It makes this so much easier. But I think the white balance, let's go ahead and see what Lightroom does. and let's do auto. That looks a little way too magenta. So let's go ahead and bump down the magenta to, let me see. I think right there we're looking good. I'm gonna actually just warm it up a tad. And here we are. Now this image, again, like the previous image, definitely has a lot of negative space here in the top, and it's a little kind of leaning to the left. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go to the crop tool. I'm just gonna auto adjust the horizon so it looks a little straighter, and I'm gonna get a crop in here to make sure my subjects are in the middle for this one. And that's it, final photo. That's what we delivered to the client. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so on this one off the bat, you're gonna see that it's very underexposed. I wanted to retain some of the detail here in the background and I just blow it out. We will make sure to fix that one first, but let's go ahead and add the preset. There you are, it's definitely underexposed. Let's go ahead and bump it up. I think right there it's looking solid, but now the white balance is definitely off. On the warmer side, again, we're gonna go ahead and just do Adobe's auto white balance, see what it does. And it is definitely a little too magenta. I'm gonna go ahead and tweak that down, and that is looking really good. I'm just gonna warm it up just a hair. Okay, so this image is absolutely beautiful. It's looking great. I'm gonna give it that extra pop we talked about. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the masking tool one more time. I'm gonna select the subject. I'm gonna go ahead and invert the mask. And remember, we're gonna do subtle moves here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bump it down just 3 clicks, and that's it. Let's look at the before and after. Absolutely stunning image, and that is what we delivered to the client. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Here we have a moodier image, and again, you're gonna see off the bat, it's underexposed, but that's totally fine. Let's go ahead and add the preset. You can see it's underexposed. We're gonna actually bump this up quite a bit. Let's see, bumped it up almost a little over a full stop, and that's already looking super good. Let's go ahead and tweak the white balance. We're gonna go ahead and go to auto, and that's looking pretty good. It's a little more magenta than I would like, so I'm gonna just go ahead and bump that down. That looks pretty good. And I'm gonna go ahead and warm it up right about there. And like we did with the previous image, we're gonna add that little extra pop. So again, we're gonna go ahead and go to the masking tool. We're gonna select the subject. We're gonna go ahead and invert the mask. And we're gonna be subtle here with a adjustment. And that looks incredible. If you wanted to with this one, you can also go ahead and just crop a little off the top just to make it a little bit better. And there you are. Let's go ahead and go to the final set of images where I also show you how to batch edit and just make your workflow significantly faster. So here we have this stunning image we took of this model. Her name is Reem, and this is just an absolutely gorgeous image out of camera. It's already amazing. Let's go ahead and add our preset here. It's a little underexposed, it's okay. Let's go ahead and bump that up to taste. That's looking good. Now it's a little too warm, I think. Let's go ahead and see what Lightroom thinks. Lightroom made it significantly cooler, but it's a little too cool. So let's go ahead and find that sweet spot. I think right there, it's looking incredible. As a matter of fact, let me see if I bumped up the exposure just a bit. No, I like that. It's a little bit moodier. And this one already has so much separation and so much different colors. I don't want to make it too dramatic, but let's see if we go ahead and add a mask. Let's select our subject. Let's go ahead and invert the mask. We're gonna be a little extra subtle here. Boom, right there. That is, wow. Okay, so this image is done. And now what you're gonna see here is that we have another image from the exact same set. So we took that with the exact same settings in the exact same place. So what you can do here is, when you're in the image, you can just go ahead and here in the bottom in Lightroom, just click on previous, and it attaches all your settings and you're good to go. But let's say you had 10 or 15 of them. What I always love doing, again, going back to the image, I'm gonna go ahead and just select both here. When you select a set of images, you can do as many as you want. For weddings, this is my favorite tool. On the bottom, you see the sync button. I just click sync and it gives you the options to sync everything. I always uncheck crop and I always uncheck masking because the masking, we're gonna have to do it on an individual photo if you're gonna tweak it. Because of Lightroom's like algorithms and AI to detect the subject, it needs to do it on an individual basis. So we'll just uncheck that, we'll synchronize, and it will just apply all the same settings. So when we go to the image, it's there. And if we wanted to on this one, we just go back to the masking tool, select the subject, invert the mask, and go ahead and just bump it down. And that is how you edit using my presets. Let's get back to the video. So what did you guys think? This has been my workflow for the last 3 years. Now it's gotten a lot easier with Adobe's latest updates, but this is exactly what I've done with all my photos. A few things to note here. For the Canon preset to work with Canon's latest cameras, you need to have Adobe's latest version of Lightroom. Whether it's Classic or Lightroom CC, whatever they call the new one, you need the latest version. If not, you will not have the right profiles to work with the R5 and R6. And that's it. So the link is down below. My preset will be sold for $15, but for the first week, I'll have it on sale for $10. So check out the link below and check out my preset. I've always said this, I love building a community here. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a comment below. Feel free to add me on Instagram, send me a DM. Let's have a conversation. And as you're editing with these presets and you're posting your images, please tag me so I can share all the amazing photos you create using my preset. As always, please like the video, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.